I know that this is a little bit older, but I kind of wanted to bring this up anyway, just to show people. I just throwing it out here, just throwing it out here. This is according to markey.senate.gov, so this is the government website of Senator Ed Markey. So Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren blast Republicans for vote against COVID-19 relief package for American small businesses. This was May of 2022. Democratic Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, both of Massachusetts, released the following statement today after the Senate failed to pass the bipartisan Small Business COVID Relief Act of 2022, legislation that would have provided much needed funding to small businesses by allocating grants to hard-hit businesses, including gyms and live event production businesses, and by replenishing the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which has supported thousands of restaurants across Massachusetts and across the country. Here's what they said. Small businesses have fought to keep their doors open, their communities afloat, and their workers on payroll throughout the darkest days of the pandemic, and today Washington has failed them. Despite widespread support and a clear need for these funds, Republicans chose to block the Small Business COVID Relief Act. Last year, the American Rescue Plan extended a critical lifeline for countless Massachusetts businesses, from the hospitality to the fitness industry and beyond. But when the federal funding ran out, some small businesses were locked out, especially minority and women-owned small businesses. It is clear that the COVID crisis exacerbated inequalities in our economy and society. It is our job to help small businesses stay afloat through tough times so that they can protect their workers, pay their bills, cover their loans, and sustain our local economies. We cannot continue to turn our backs on the communities that have shouldered the burden of this pandemic. We are incredibly disappointed in our colleagues for failing to recognize their duty to the American workers and small business entrepreneurs, but we remain committed to fighting to support small businesses and pass a robust relief package. Massachusetts is home to over 715,000 small businesses that make our Commonwealth's economy run. Earlier this year, Senators Markey and Warren sent a letter to Senate leadership urging them to pass additional relief for small businesses. Well, I gotta tell you, it's not surprising at all. People think that I'm crazy for pushing vote blue no matter who. But, I'm just telling you, when people say that the two parties are the same, I still don't understand it. What the hell are you talking about? This was a thing. So if the two parties are the same, why is it that no matter what piece of legislation is introduced to the floor, or no matter what executive order that a president passes or attempts to pass, one party, generally as a whole, not saying everybody on one side and everybody on the other side, but generally as a whole, for the most part, one party seems to support it, the other seems to oppose it. Where's the same at? Here's the letter that they sent. Additional relief. The CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act provided vital funding for our nation's small businesses through the creation and funding of critical programs like the Paycheck Protection Program, the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant Program, the COVID Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. These programs have provided hundreds of billions of dollars in relief to businesses across the country. However, these programs were quickly depleted and countless small businesses were left without any aid. In their letter, Senators Markey and Warren request additional funding for the hardest hit sectors in Massachusetts, including restaurants, hotels, travel gyms, and live entertainment, businesses that are struggling to stay afloat. Now, here's what they said. While we are grateful for the historic investment in our nation's small businesses by the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act, the need for aid has been far greater than the funding provided by Congress. Right, the senators in their letter to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. The COVID pandemic has not ended, and neither should the relief for small businesses. Investments like these will help small businesses protect their workers, pay rent, pay the bills, and cover their loans, and ensure that they can survive this new normal. New normal. A copy of the senator's letter can be found here. I clicked on that. Cannot download the file. Okay, here we go. So, I mean, is there really much else to say about this? Is there really, really much else to say about this? Here's the letter right here. It's about 3 pages long. Let me just... We are writing to express strong support for a robust small business relief package to be included in the fiscal year 2022 spending package. As Congress works to finalize the FY 2022 spending package, we urge you to include economic relief for small businesses that have been impacted by the ongoing health and economic crisis caused by the spread of the novel coronavirus and most recently, the Omicron virus variant. Specific sectors in Massachusetts, such as restaurants, hotels, travel gyms, live entertainments, and other businesses are struggling to stay afloat. Now, some of this has the same thing, that they included some of this in it, so I'm going to skip some of that. You already know. However, these were quickly depleted. A January 2022 survey by the Independent Restaurant Coalition found that 58% of businesses nationwide reported that their sales decreased by more than half in December of 2021, and 49% of businesses did not receive RRF were forced to lay off staff because of a COVID-related closure or lack of sales. Additionally, small businesses have suffered financially when they have been forced to reduce hours or close temporarily in response to positive cases among employees or as a preventative measure. Even in Massachusetts, where our restaurant industry was well positioned to apply for and receive considerable RRF aid compared to other states, less than 40% of applicants were able to access this much-needed funding. While we are grateful for the historic investment in our nation's small businesses by the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan, the need for aid has been far greater than the funding provided by Congress. Okay, some of that is the same. Small businesses are the engine of Massachusetts' economy. Massachusetts is home to over 715,000 small businesses that employ almost 2 million people. These small businesses account for 99.5% of Massachusetts businesses. If small businesses do not run, the economy does not run. Congress must be committed to ensuring that we adequately respond to our immediate needs while also charting a path to a genuinely healthier and more equitable future through a just recovery. Our nation's small businesses can't wait any longer for additional relief, and we again urge you to include small business relief as part of the FY 2022 funding package. Thank you for your immediate consideration of this important matter. Sincerely, Democratic Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren of the state of Massachusetts. So I couldn't help but notice where it says, thank you for your immediate consideration of this important matter. That is something that Republicans do not consider at all. Find me one. Find me one. You can't. Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, Mitt Romney, Mike Lee, John Cornyn. You can't. You can't. You can't find one. Ron Johnson. Who's the one in Iowa? Is that Chuck Grassley? So people told me that I was worrying too much when I was overstressing how important it was. So there were 6 potential seats that we could have gained in the Senate in the 2022 midterms. So those 6 seats that could have won. And out of those 6 seats, we only got one of them to win. That was John Fetterman in Pennsylvania. But here are the other 5 that we could have won. We could have had Charles Booker in Kentucky. We could have had Val Demings in Florida. We could have had Abby Finkenauer in Iowa. We could have had Mandela Barnes or Tom Nelson either Tom Nelson or Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin, and we could have had Tim Ryan in Ohio. If we had gained those 5 seats, the Senate would look much better. We gained a seat in the Senate that brought us up to 51, which was better than where we were at, a couple years before that. But now one of our Democratic senators has just registered as an independent, and that would be Kyrsten Sinema in Arizona. Okay, so, and she voted with Republicans most of the time anyway, so I don't know why she didn't just be honest and just register as a Republican. If you were going to vote against 99% of Biden's agenda and go against 99% of the things that he was saying and doing, and while you're agreeing, and here you are having secret meetings with Mitch McConnell and these other Republican figures, why didn't you just become a Republican? Why not? I think it's a bad move. I think it's crappy, but at least it's honest. So I'm just throwing that out there, people. And I remember the night of the midterms where I was saying, hey, we need to win these 6 spots. And they were saying, oh, we just need 2 or 3 spots. You don't have to worry about the rest. Okay, well, look where we're at. So this is why I say vote blue no matter who on all levels. President, governor, Senate, Congress, your local, the state representative and state Senate, the state Supreme Courts, the county courts, the county legislators, the county executives, the commissioners. Just vote blue. Unless that blue is like Mike Bloomberg or Joe Manchin. But besides that, this is why I say having 50 or 51 seats in the Senate with the vice president being the tiebreaker, that's not good enough. It's just too close a call. I know people are saying, well, that's better than having all Republicans. Yes and no. It's kind of somewhat true to a degree. But if you're going to have a couple Democrats that break that, and let's say they decide to vote with the Republicans, then that means the Republicans have a victory. And in that particular case, that's no different than really having Mitch McConnell as a Senate leader. So, and we could have beat Mitch McConnell out too in 2020 if everybody had just voted for, Charles Booker or Amy. I'm drawing a blank on her last name. I'm sorry, but you know who I'm talking about. Amy, who was the veteran. She ran against. So if that state had just voted for one of those two, McConnell wouldn't be there. It would look a lot better. Not saying that McConnell's the only problem. We have many other problems going on, and there's many people in this government that we need to vote out. But people, this is why I stress the importance of, because here's the fact of the matter is, this is a thing right here. That thing that I just read, that is something that is widely supported amongst most Democrats and widely opposed by nearly every, if not every single Republican. And that's just a fact. So you want stuff like that passed, you vote for the Democrats. So thank you to Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren for standing up for workers and standing up for the American people. Thank you for being on our side. We hope to reelect you. If you decide to run for reelection, you have my support. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So just saying, we need to get ready for 2024. I'm going to prepare to, promote and campaign to help Biden and Harris get reelected. We also need to reelect almost every Democrat that we have in each sitting seat. Vote some Republicans out. We can gain more seats. We can gain more seats in the Congress, gain more seats in the Senate. And who knows, maybe the Supreme Court could be fixed in due time. But these are all things that I just want people to think about. Your small businesses, the manufacturing workers, the healthcare, education, wages, checks, all that stuff. You want those things to get done. It's easier to work with the Democrats and to pressure them to do the right thing and get closer and closer to that point than to sit there and fight with Republicans who won't make a move on it. So that's why I say vote blue no matter who. Again, thank you to Senators Markey and Warren.